Dash in the last 7 days. There are two relevant news items. The weekly momentum is at 38 out of 100, and one of these news items really changes the picture for Dash. As always, I'll go through all the news for Dash for you here in a data-based way, and then we'll do a chart analysis at the end. But let's switch directly. What is Dash actually? It's a fast private digital cash coin, actually split off from Bitcoin, interestingly enough. Price, as mentioned, currently at over $33, almost $34. Last 7 days minus 4.3% market cap, around 430 million. So it's already heading towards mid-cap. If you want more info on Dash, I'd be happy to do a full analysis for Dash in the F future. If you'd like that, just 10x as a comment, hashtag 10x, and then I'll do an analysis on it. But let's get straight to the news and the weekly momentum. As mentioned, that's at 38 out of 100. We have 25% only positive news, 25% neutral, and 50% rather negative. So yeah, not a perfect week, I'd say. Main driver of the week is new sanctions on one hand, because weak quarterly upgrades outweigh the planned, let's say, new business developments or news. But let's go through that in detail now. Then we'll come to the regulatory news first. Here we have on the one hand that Dash coins are really affected by US sanctions. So in other words, that's obviously a bit problematic. It was announced on July 13th that some Dash wallets were actually blocked, meaning the US is banning this handling of the wallets. The source for this is the US Treasury from July 13th. So regulatorily, that's rather negative news. Before we move on, here's a bit of self-promotion for the free 10x insider group. I do free market analyses there. You get insights into my chart analyses, for example, on Bitcoin, Caspar, and also, let's say, some news, as well as access to 10x Intelligence, my AI assistant for research. And I also regularly share exciting altcoins that I've found in my 10x Invest membership, the paid membership. So you can just scan the QR code and then you'll get more info. As mentioned, it's completely free. But let's move straight on with the news. Let's come to the team and the funding. There we have a first quarterly upgrade via livestream. It was on July 15th. They showed the progress for Q2 2024. Meaning the positive thing is the team is sharing current work and news. The source for this is the Dashcore group on July 15th. So you can see they're continuing to work on things, which is definitely positive news, I'd say. Now, the important thing is, what should you have on your radar for the future? On one hand, the next quarterly upgrade update, which is in 80 days based on the previous rhythm at least. That's obviously important because there will be new updates for Dash. Yeah, otherwise not much news about Dash in the last 7 days, but let's look at the whole thing in the chart analysis. Where does Dash stand? When would be an exciting entry point, and what does the chart say? So let's move on to the 10x indicator. It shows whether we are overbought or oversold. In other words, it shows a possible bottom formation, but also a possible top formation. This way, you're fully informed about the chart based on data and can look for potential entry or exit points. You can get all the info here, just scan the QR code for more details, but now let's go straight into the chart analysis. So here we are in the chart analysis for Dash. As always, let's start with the weekly chart and take a look at the whole thing. By the way, this was the listing on Binance right here. Massive, right? How many people really wanted it, especially at the beginning? But then came the massive crash. Then we moved to the daily chart. How does it look there? Interestingly, we had a massive increase here too, especially regarding the topic of privacy. There were really, let's say, a few catalysts recently. That was in May. We also had an increase here, if you look at it now, from about here, which was the bottom, of 96%, so a decent rise. But then my 10x indicator showed a big red dot. That means, yeah, okay, watch out now, possible top formation. And the data was actually accurate because we did have a top formation. If you look at it, after that it went, so it signaled it here, then it went down by almost 44%. That's quite extreme. You can always see it up here. The momentum was also very high. The risk of a correction was high. Then boom, more and more people sold off. We were in the oversold zone, and then the 10x indicator formed a big green dot, meaning we now have a possible bottom formation, right? And from that point on, we rose by another 24%. But now you can see it's quite volatile. The small dots are always bearish or bullish trend changes. And if you look at it here, we're moving more sideways now. You can see that here too, in the momentum, it's more sideways. But now to the current status. We recently formed a small green dot, meaning a possible bullish trend change. So the situation now is partly such that it could rise a bit. But the overall situation from my personal view, and especially from the data view, is that we're in the middle range in terms of momentum. It could be that we might rise a bit more now and then go down, and from my point of view, an exciting entry zone would be if it went down again and a big green dot formed here, indicating a bottom formation, and then that would be an exciting entry point for me personally at least. And that's why it's so important to really use the 10x indicator for analyses. From my point of view, it really gives better database insights there. Here you can scan the code again and get more info about the 10x indicator. And that's it for now as far as the chart analysis goes. By the way, there's also a 30% discount on the 10x indicator now, and that's on all, let's say, monthly, 6-monthly or 12-month plans on everything. So that's it for you. Yes, now I'll show you another video, which is also extremely exciting. If I were you, I wouldn't miss it. Thanks for watching, and then I'll see you in a bit.